So welcome you guys on my first video on this channel in which I will be talking about my trip to Almaty, Kazakhstan. But first, let's introduce myself. My name is Bob, a graduate student from public school in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, who decided to share his experience from going local to global. If you are ready, let's go. It was 27th of September. I woke up at 2:30 a.m. to catch my train. After taking a shower and finishing an early breakfast, it was already 3 a.m. and I ordered an online taxi which took me to the train station. When I arrived, I've seen my friends and our train was already there, being prepared for our departure. We boarded the train, found our seats and stored our luggages in place, ready to embark on our journey to Almaty, Kazakhstan. By the way, some of the guys hadn't eaten anything because they were in a rush to reach the train station on time, so they had brought some snacks with them. 2 hours after departure, we found ourselves in Kazakhstan at the border control in Saryagach, where we passed through border control. After that, we continued our journey towards Shymkent train station. The whole railway to Almaty was surrounded by stunning, steppe landscapes. By 11 a.m., it was time for lunch. The interesting part was that everyone had different meals and we decided to share it with each other, so we turned our lunch into a delightful buffet experience. Afterward, feeling a bit bored, I started walking around the train carriages for looking for some new things. As I strolled, I was treated to beautiful views of nature, including two mountain peaks that broke through the clouds. By 5 p.m., we had dinner and spent some time doing our own activities like working on laptops, chatting with each other, and reading books. As the evening progressed, around 8 p.m., some of us were already asleep and some of us were preparing for sleep. And we were puzzled and surprised when our train, which was supposed to arrive in Almaty at 10:30 p.m., didn't roll it until midnight. Once we arrived, we exchanged our currency for Kazakh tenge and ordered a taxi to our hotel, which we had booked 3 days prior to our departure from Uzbekistan. Finally, we reached our hotel, and I shared a twin room with a guy from our group, Ozatbek, while our friends were in a much larger triple room. The next day, all of us had a shower in the morning and ventured to the nearest local market to buy some stuff to eat for the breakfast. Afterward, we returned to the hotel and set off to the city tour, which took place on September 28th, just one day before the Almaty Marathon. We enjoyed breathtaking views of the mountains from the city and continued our walk toward the city. And one thing I immediately noticed was that the whole city, Almaty, is located in between of the high mountains. So at any point of the city, you look to the border of the city, you see mountains. And another fact that I noticed was the respect for pedestrians. So you can surely cross the road with no fear about accidents. So we also encountered several crosswalks and buildings featuring stunning architecture, including the Almaty TV Tower, which resembled our own Tashkent TV Tower. And surprisingly, next we visited a mall called Dostik Plaza, which also reminded me of our Tashkent City Mall. There we enjoyed some pizzas. After eating pizzas, we went to the Central State Museum of Kazakhstan in Almaty, where we learned about the history of Kazakhstan and its neighboring countries. Once we finished at the museum, we used the public subway to collect our marathon Starbucks. However, all of us were surprised to discover that the subway stations were built quite deep underground, so it was about 50 to 60 meters underground, which was really surprising for us since our subway station in Tashkent built only no more than 20 to 30 meters underground. When we asked about days from locals, they explained that it was due to tough geological layers, since the city was located in between mountains. By 3 p.m., we arrived at the registration area for the marathon, which was overcrowded. Surprisingly, we encountered our first problem in Almaty. Since we were under 18, we needed parental confirmation to participate in the marathon. However, we haven't seen that while registering for that in Uzbekistan, so it was really hard for us to solve that problem, and it took about 2 hours to solve, and then finally we got our start back. Here you can see some stuff that we got. Following morning at 6:50 a.m., we began our warm-up. I couldn't film during the marathon as the rules prohibited the use of smartphones or headphones. However, many runners were still using their phones and listening for music on their headphones. As an Uzbek in a foreign country, I wanted to represent my nation, so I wore a dopa, the traditional headdress of Uzbek men. During the run, many people looked at me, and even some fellow Uzbek runners came up to me to wish me luck. At the end of the marathon, me and my friends took some photos with locals and fellow Uzbeks in Almaty. Overall, there were around 15,000 participants running various distances in the marathon. The marathon ended by 11 a.m. and we headed back to our hotel to shower, rest, and prepare for another city tour. By 3 p.m., we started our walk to downtown, capturing amazing views along the way. Interestingly, downtown of Almaty is not surrounded by tall buildings and skyscrapers. Instead, it features old Soviet-style monuments. One of the highlights of our day was trying a traditional Kazakh dish called bishbarmak, which means 5 fingers. The name comes from the fact that it's traditional eaten with your hands without any kitchen utensils. However, these days many people use spoons or forks, so it's really rare to see someone eating the dish by hand. After enjoying Bishbarmak, two guys from our group decided to turn back to the hotel while the three of us continued our adventure to the top of the city, specifically to Koktove, the place where the Almaty TV tower is located. We took a cable car to get there, and once we arrived, we explored the park built on the mountain. The view of nighttime Almaty was simply breathtaking and captured some great photos. Finally, we returned to our hotel by around 8 p.m. and ordered a lot of pizzas for the night and for the train journey ahead. On September 30th at 10:34 a.m., our train from Almaty 2 train station to Tashkent started moving. We arrived in Tashkent at 3 a.m. and every one of us got to their own homes by ordering online taxi. So this is it. This was the whole trip to Almaty Marathon. Thank you for watching. With you were Bob, and it's my first video on this channel. See you in the next videos. That's it for now. Ciao.